Salam sejahtera, guys. Welcome to another episode of Dialogue. My name is Adam.
Hi, I'm Dicky again. Adam, today we have yet another guest we have had the privilege to work with, to know with.
As I know, this guest of yours, like our first guest, came all the way from Singapore
Exactly, yeah.
to be with us today. I know him through you, actually. What is your history with him?
This particular guest is very close to me. We are like brothers, as they say, brother from another mother, right? But yeah, we are very close to each other. We have known each other for, I think, over a decade. We've done so many things. Work at the same dive center before, doing underwater jobs together, mainly filming and underwater safety and that kind of stuff. At the same time, he started diving. Initially became an instructor, so I was a part of the teaching crew or the person who mentored him into becoming an instructor.
Are you the reason why he got into diving?
I am not too sure about that. Maybe we can ask that from our guest itself. We would like to introduce to you guys Ferdy. Hello, Ferdy. Welcome to the Dive Lab podcast.
Thank you. Hi,
Welcome
Dicky.
to the podcast.
Hi, Adam. Hi, Dicky. Thank you. My name is Ferdy. I am a scuba instructor, and yes, I am a longtime friend with my two brothers, Dicky and Adam. It's very, very good to be here. I really wanted to support the channel for a while already, but the opportunity was not coming in too early. So yes, I am not from Singapore, but I was traveling from Singapore instead. I am thrilled to be here, my two brothers. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time to be with us. What are we going to be talking about tonight?
Well, of course, we're gonna try to discover everything that we want to know
About Ferdy.
about Ferdy.
Yes.
He's an interesting character.
He is.
A joker.
Okay. So Ferdy, if you don't mind, I'm sure the listeners want to know more about you as well.
Gotcha. Of course, it will be such a pleasure to share. First things first, I'm not as old as I look. I am in my late 30s. I am a father of two, a husband of one. As you are very aware that Malay can marry four, but I'm very happy with one.
Indeed.
Loyal man.
Yeah.
So, yes, a little bit of myself. I am currently working as a dive professional. But my journey to be here was quite a distance. Wow. Okay, throwing back in 2007, I graduated from National Arts Academy, Malaysia. I was having a major in filmmaking. My major subject was sound design. Then I had a huge interest in camera works. After graduating, I spent my early career days. No, actually before graduating, I worked on my career as a photographer. I started off as a wedding photographer. Then after a while, merged to events, concerts, and motorsports. Then after a while, I was stuck in the fashion industry for quite a while. Had the chance to work with multiple personas of Malaysia back then. I think this is the early 2000. It was very interesting. Then after a while, it's like a hunger that you feel that you're constantly hungry, that you want more. At first, it was a small wedding kampong in a village, very, very traditional wedding that I have to travel like 3-4 hours to these locations and whatnot. And then turned up to be a bigger weddings, more team member, more packs, 15,000, 20,000 packs. And then I had a team of people to work with me. And then we upgraded ourselves to become official medias for events and things like that. We had coverage for government offices, universities, you name it, man, back then. Then after a while, we got very hungry. I got very hungry. Merged into filmmaking.
Okay.
So if you are aware, there was a Hollywood studio in the southern region of Malaysia. Only 4 in the world. Most recent brand of the studio. I was given a wonderful, life-changing exposure and opportunity to be the first crew in that studio. And we had the chance to work on a massive project that marked the nation's history. I've spent about 16 years serving the filming industry.
16 years.
16 years. From a cable guy, my duty was just only to tidy up the cables. And before I had a career change, I was sitting down in an art director's chair. I was given an opportunity to sit down on the director of photography's chair. these two chairs that I really, really cherish the most.
Mm.
That was given chance.
If you don't mind sharing with us when you were in these chairs, right? What was the movie? What was the film in the making at that point in time?
I was given the chance to work with a beautiful director called Jeannie Amir. I was working on her in this film called Boo. I think it's a short form for Ibu. Me and my wife Amira, we had the chance to work with a very talented production designer called Tam Khalid.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with ATF, Asian Tropical Film, for this Darente. I worked with him for one of the most proudest moment and the most beautiful experience was actually working for Pascal.
Okay.
So
you did Pascal as well.
I did Pascal as well. So Pascal was a huge. I was completely on a fanboy mode. You know, I'm so obsessed with the uniform and then the Navy and whatnot, right? So it was given the chance. I was one of the divers for Pascal. Oh man, that job that I was involved was only about 21 days. 21 days was amazing. International ones, we were given the chance to work for Netflix, Marco Polo season 1 and season 2. I was the props person for that. I worked in locations for that. I've worked in weapons and special effects for that.
So man of many trades, huh?
No, jack of all trades, master of none. But these international ones was where we really focus on underwater film. So we'll get to that later.
Speaking of life, a lot of people, especially the generation nowadays, they want to know when they go to work, are they being compensated well? And then they want they want to have this work-life balance kind of thing. So how is it in your industry back then? What was your daily routine like, or when you were in a job? How busy were you? What kind of life did you get? Was it a trial and tribulation? Was it a lot of hard work? Was it a lot of sleepless nights? I don't know.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every single minute of it. If you were to calculate then, within 16 years, how many minutes you have, I would take all those minutes back. I really, really, really miss it. And whether it's big or small, I miss it all. Life was good, bang. Life was good. Only for a short period of time. I was single back then. I was not married. As a single person, I won't say non-negotiable. It was the best decisions ever. You know, work-life balance 0. Okay. There will be no work-life balance at all. If you're on a job, you're on a job.
You're on a job. You slog or whatever.
Get it done. They don't care. It's always the angmos, like it's always the mat saleh when we ask, hey Ferdy, you need this to be done. When do you need it? By then. You need it yesterday, mate.
So discipline and passion is really a key thing.
That's the only one that drove us to survive throughout these years. I like to play games with myself, right? I like to sleep. And the moment I hear my alarm, but I don't like to open up my eyes yet. I like to hear the surrounding. I like to think, and I like to tell myself, Ferdy, where are you now? Are you in Subang? Are you in Shalam? Are you in JV? Are you in Malaysia? Are you in Bali? Are you here? Are you there? I don't know. Now, you know what? I think I'm in Langkawi. Boop! Oh no, you're in Shalam. Because I lost track of where I sleep, you see. Tahu-tahu je, you're on a job, okay, crash in the car, and then wake up, okay, time to shoot, let's go, get it done. Work-life balance only comes in later when you decided to take a rest. I'll be on a job for 6 months, I'll be off for 2 months. This is where I start to connect back with my family, connect back with my friends. Back then, no family, I mean, just my parents, and my siblings. This guy is getting married, that guy is getting married. So after a while, and then go back to another 6 months, go back to another 2 months. Those are when I was making movies. Then I move up to commercial. That is where it's a shorter run. So in the filming industry, it's always either a marathon or a sprint. The marathon is always the long haul. We call it the long hauls. And the long hauls are like movie and whatnot. You're out for months. You're out for a lot of time. And then we have our sprints, our commercials. 7 days, no sleep. You want to get your stuff done and then you want to execute it and then boom. Production designer Tam Khalid always say, shoot the bugger, take the money and go. Move on to the next one. If you ask me right now, if I were to come back and they were to have me back, would I go back? 100% yes. But there are certain things that we are not happy about. There are certain things that, oh man, it's not suitable for now kind of life. being a father, being a husband. There are certain things that we have to take it out. Not saying that everybody else can do it. Yes, you can. But I think in the consequences of what we are facing right now, what I'm facing right now, is a big struggle. Then I had to do what I had.
Okay, so with all of those busy life in that career and so on, how did you start diving, and how did you find time diving? How did diving came into your life?
Oh my goodness. Diving came, I'm not sure if you guys know this, I am afraid of water.
You're afraid of water, okay.
I'm afraid of the water.
Afraid of water, yeah, you're
Yes.
doing diving, okay.
Yes, I watch too much Jaws movie. My students will always know this story because I tend to
Share it with them.
share it with them, and when I teach shark conservation,
Uh,
I will always share this story that I watched too much Jaws movie when I was a kid. I cannot even survive my mother's bathtub. Then
that
after
bad?
No, that bad. It was super bad. So after a while, I feel that I need to be in the water just because I need to. You know what? Okay, fear. Come on, put you in the bag, throw it out of the way. I want to face my fear. Then after a while, I tried, and I met beautiful people of the diving industry. It was purely when we have a long job that you have some kind of break. You just want to get out from reality. So back then, when we did a job in Johor Bahru, the nearest to go was Mersing. And the literally nearest island was Pulau Besar, Johor, right? So we went to Pulau Besar. I couldn't even get into the water. I was so scared of the water, right? So
this is funny. Okay.
life jacket, fin, snorkel, like constantly bite on the mouthpiece, sampai koyak, you know, it was just stare or torn off. You were like, oh, so stiff. Then after a while, you know what? Let's get this fear out. Let's sign up for a snorkeling course. I said, my friends back then, most of my foreign friends, they said, no such thing as a snorkeling course. Go diving. I said, oh my goodness, diving. So back then we were paid well. I had no commitments, tak ada family, nothing. It was just money is all for me. So I said, okay lah, let's sign up. Let's sign up for a course. My first ever person that I met that changed me was one of my sifu. I respect him as a brother. I love this guy to the bone. It was Mark Rahman. Mark Rahman brought me into the water. But I was arrogant, bang. I was arrogant.
Biasalah orang muda.
Tu lah. Early 20s, handsome, no belly. Now like still boleh lah cari makan,
Okay.
lah married. So I met this beautiful person called Mark Rahman, and Mark Rahman worked on me towards facing my fear. So it was supposed to be a group thing. Lepas tu it was okay, you can make it, I cannot make it, blah blah blah. And then if I'm not wrong, I might be wrong, it was towards the end of the year, and the rain of the west wind starts to come in, where it starts to have rain. Oh my goodness, back then I demand education from Mark. I was very, very arrogant. I came to the shop, told him, Mark, I got money to spend. Let's get me certified. It's very arrogant. I don't know who Mark Rahman was, you see. It was just a shop in Johor Bahru. But when I get to know him, and I get to know how this guy is like a fish in the water, So I was like, oh my goodness, this guy, wow, he's good. And he managed to open up me being less. I'm not saying not yet, Mark. No, still haven't broke it out yet, but I'm getting more comfortable in the water. So Mark trained me up constantly. Then after that, I got hooked, man. I told Mark, I want full gear. I want top to toe, all the top-notch brands. And very arrogant, paid in cash, Then after a while, I said, okay, I need to bring a buddy. So that time, I had a girlfriend. This girlfriend was very, very clingy to me. Very, very clingy to me. Constantly, where are you? So I said to my girlfriend, okay, you want to get into the water with me? She said, I can't dive. It's all right. I will bring you to this person that brought my fear out. So my girlfriend said, okay, let's go. So apparently I brought that girlfriend to Mark. With me, I thought that Mark handled me very soft and gentle until I saw he handle my girlfriend, which is even softer and more gentle. I said, wow, this guy is a different breed. Because how This is where the first education of teaching method was taught subconsciously. So my girlfriend got certified, and Mark did say your girlfriend did better than you in terms of scoring exams.
Okay.
Both of us were diving together, and then boom, 10 years later we got married. That girlfriend, managed to seal the deal. So yeah, because of how my fear was conquered with a huge help of a lot of people, but been fought by only ourselves. That is what diving is to me. Of course, that was the first steps lah kan. But then after that, Mark brought me up very well. My wife brought me up very well. And then we saw the opportunity to become a dive professional. I didn't see this interest early. I saw this interest very late. I saw it on COVID. When COVID happened, homeschooling, and then we do all of our due diligence to make household function. The core factor of a house is actually the education of our son, Raphael. Raphael was homeschooling. At that point, everybody in the country was homeschooling, kan? Tapi Raphael needed a lot of attention to learn. I had to step in. Doing that, I felt a lot of pleasure by doing that. I love it. And then
Pleasure in teaching, you mean?
pleasure in teaching. I had a lot of pleasure in teaching my son how to get educated. And then my wife Amira, she used to be a teacher back then, elementary school or primary, I don't. But she said that, hey, you got talent in teaching. I said I flung every single subject in school. How do I have talent? But the joy that the boy has when I executed the method of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
If a student cannot understand something, we Asian parents, and we understand. Don't press. Later you fall. Don't press. Don't press. Increase the volume. I said don't press. Increase the volume. But instead of increasing the volume, you tend to teach with a different angle. Let me teach you what is going to happen if you press this. Consequences number 1. Consequences number 2. Do you still want to press this? So I find that pleasure in that teaching, but changing method of teaching. And then COVID happened. It was very, very bad. I had no projects for 4 years. I had no income for 4 years. I had nothing. I only have my family time. Whatever amount of money that I left, then we decided to use whatever that I have to become a dive professional. I mean, at that point, I was already a dive professional. I was already a dive master. At that point, we wanted to go in all out to sign up for the next IDC, Instructor Development course. We blew out all our money. In fact, I actually borrowed some money from my wife to do this course. Mom helped me with a lot of financial aid as well. My late father as well. We were pushing out just to get me certified. So that I realized back then, Malaysia, the first industry that Malaysia opened up, despite kedai makan and all the restaurants, Malaysia opened up travel tours first. I think Adam, you can agree with me, eh?
Not really.
Not really, with that bubble and whatnot, eh?
Yeah.
Because I was sitting down with the Malaysian community of filmmaking that we were writing an SOP for the industry to permit international filming to be done here again. We lost a lot of jobs, guys. A lot of jobs. Which script I've already read. I've already seen the treatment of the jobs. It's so many jobs that we missed that opportunity during that time that we did not open up for the international projects to come in. We lost to Indonesia. We lost to Thailand. Then I realized this is one opportunity that I cannot miss. So let's go out. I got the blessing from my parents. I got the blessing from my wife. And I got the blessing from my son to do this, because this is the only salvation I believe at that time that I am capable of doing. At least from teaching scuba, I could make a living for that period of time.
You did mention that Mark was one of your probably most valuable mentor because he's the one who got you started in scuba diving, right? Could you tell us one method that he used that made you conquer your fear for water?
Wow. Mark is one of my most valuable mentors. I don't say I got many lah. I got few. I was introduced to Mark early, so I've seen this method first by him, shown by him. He broke it down. He will take it gradually. He knows that I don't like water in my mask. He will fill it up bit by bit and always give me the chance to stand up and practice He gave me a chance to come over and over and over again when I needed it, which a lot of dive centers doesn't give it nowadays. If you can't do it now, you can't do it now. Sayonara. Diving is not for you. There's a lot of instructors doing it, which I'm not a fan of. So for Mark Rahman, he gave me a chance to keep on doing it over and over again. So from half mast to full mast to no mast, and after a while, he gave me a lot of time and chance to practice at them. That's how Mark Rahman did it towards me and made me conquer bit by bit. And of course, his stupid jokes lah.
Feel comfortable, right?
I'm having a problem with my ear. Why is the sound muffled? Then amputate your ear, Ferdy. You don't need an ear. You just need one ear. You don't need another one. So that's Mark lah.
You know, Dicky, Mark Rahman is a name that is actually came up quite often in our podcast.
Oh really? Oh really?
Yeah, I think quite a few people already did mention his name.
Yep.
Maybe one of these days we should actually invite
Oh
him
yeah,
to come to our podcast.
Definitely.
If he would be a very good guest to have,
Indeed.
and to talk about scuba diving, perhaps to talk about Ferdy as well.
You better say the good ones, Mark. So yeah.
So Ferdy, does the experience that you had with Mark translate to when you're teaching your student right now?
Of course, it does. Whatever Mark taught me was translated a portion of how I teach my students. I can never be as good as Mark Rahman, but at least I can try because he trained me. And a big other portion was coming from my other mentors. I remember, and I am not shy or embarrassed to tell this, but one of my biggest mentors is actually Dicky Zulkarnain. Dicky... This is why I don't want to puji this guy. Go like...
It's too humble.
Yeah, he's too
Always
humble.
too
That's right, this guy. So Dicky, I met him through Mark Rahman as well. I wanted to buy full gear, as what I mentioned. Moving from the brand S to the brand O, I got to meet Dicky. The first impression or the first opportunity that I met Dicky was buying gear. And I heard so much about him, and now I met him that it just immediately, boom, we just got along immediately. Back then, I think it was in MIDE. I don't remember what year was it.
I can't remember what year, yeah.
So,
A
Dicky,
long time ago.
I told Mark, I need to get myself a backplate and a full gear. And I said, it's all right. I will introduce you to the man. This is my younger brother. Dicky is cool and blah, blah, blah. So I reserved that portion of money. See, I told my wife, I reserved this portion of money. I went to him, hi, I'm Ferdy. I need to buy this. And, okay, bro, I'll get back to you. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, that was. So he was like very, very busy. And so I said, after day 1, I waited. After day 2, I waited. The MIDE then almost shut down. And I said, where's the barang, man? But I'm so sorry, I couldn't save it for you. I had to get rid of the barang. Oh, I was angry, man. I was angry. So I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm going to blast this money out. So I bought myself a lot of unnecessary things I should not buy. And I came back broke lah. I came back broke to the booth. I was packing, going back to Johor Bahru and blah, blah. And then Dicky came back with the barang that I wanted with. And he said, Ferdy, I saved it. But I don't have any money to pay with it. I blasted on all this stuff. It's okay. Pay me when you can. This is the value that I see. I mean, my wife knows this very well. My ex-boss called me an obedient dog because I'm not sure if you guys remember Yogi the dog. Yeah. So Yogi will always wait for Ben when he comes back. My ex-boss said, I have these traits. And I will never forget the people that taught me. I will never forget the people that fed me. And I will never forget the people that loved me. I see these traits especially towards my mentors. Kan? Dicky showed me that on the first day I met him. So you showed me that. And you came back with the barang that I don't know where you salvaged. And what he said was, it's okay. Just pay me when you can. That was why, oh my goodness, it struck me, you know. Then after a while, knowing Dicky, he taught me the other side of scuba diving. Technical side, commercial side. You gave me that early knowledge, you see. This is where my tingling starts to become bigger. When I start to see that, wow, diving is just not here. Not only in a swimming pool and I go open water. Swimming pool, go open water. It is a big industry and it's a big other types of diving that was not exposed for until Dicky showed me that path. So that is where I start to check over certain knowledge that I was never exposed to until I was a dive master before becoming an instructor. and I was diving with my wife. My wife had a brand new wetsuit. It was brand new, Adam. It never wore it before. I don't know if you remember this story. It was a night dive.
The Rengis dive.
Is it Ringis?
I think so. I don't know.
Yes,
I can't
because there
remember.
were sharks behind her. Yeah, correct. It was Ringis. Oh, I thought
Night dive, Rengis night dive. I think.
I
Yeah.
thought Tiger Reef. So we brought her down. At that point, we had a lot of other instructors and professionals. Dicky was there, not as a guide. Dicky was there to tag along to dive with us. I brought my wife Amira down, and she couldn't. The offset of the wetsuit was not calculated. I didn't calculate that properly, and then she had problem with the eyes. Defogger, I don't know, man. And then I felt at that point, I felt like, hey, sort yourself out. Let's go down. I was in that attitude now, Adam. Hey, come on, man, come on. And so down there, she was really not enjoying her dive. She was struggling with the mask, trying to do blah, blah, blah. And then she was trying to clear her mask, and then she starts to swim up. Me being a dive professional, I had to look after safety, right? I won't say I fetched her. I escorted her up. The moment she pops up, I deployed my SMB and I shine a torch inside to mark where we are. The first things first that I told her was, what the is wrong with you? I bashed her all the way. You know how dangerous is it right now? You know, no, but my eyes have a problem. I don't care about your eyes. I care about the propeller. I remember this line when she cried, and I said, why are you even crying? Do you know how bad your situation is? Go back into the water. Go back into the water. I was like that now, Adam. It was a complete, you're sleeping in the sofa tonight movement by me. But then again, it was a bad move. Then I was getting very angry. And then 2 minutes later, the key went up. I was like, I'm going to tell my brother. Dicky, you know what happened? This girl, she went up, blah, 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 very fast. And then Dicky was like, Ferdy, zip it. Amy, what happened? You okay? The first 2 questions he asked, what happened? Are you okay? Number 3, the exact same thing that Mak Rahman would do. Now I saw in front of my eyes, Dicky Zurakan was doing. Exactly that I need to learn very badly at that time, which was comfort. He comforted Amy on the spot, and Amy completely cooled down. It was the exact opposite of what I was doing. Enforcing. Boom, learn another tick box. At that point, and I saw, okay, my approach is wrong. I'm blah, 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 blah. So I said that was a second method that I've learned throughout my journey. And after a while, my 2 mentors at that point told me, if you are keeping this attitude, if you're keeping this mindset, and you're keeping this style, please don't ever teach. And that was what he said to me. Please don't ever teach. And then that happened way before COVID, right? And so when COVID happened, I was looking at my son was struggling in Mandarin, which I don't even know. And I cannot increase the volume of teaching him by screaming or increasing my volume. I go to another method. That was where my son managed to do the homework without getting failed. And then I said, oh my goodness, these 2 lessons for now. I got 2 now. Bring me some more lessons, So that was where I met Dicky. I met you. And you give me those very valuable lessons at that particular point that would just make me, okay, boom, I've learned this. I got to know this. Okay, I'm getting comfortable in this area. Let's get out from that comfort zone. So then I post-mortem with my wife, I think 3 days sleeping in the couch. 3 days. That night I got stung by what was it? Sea urchin. She completely bolayan me. So yeah, then I asked her, what do you feel? I feel very uncomfortable when you approach me that way. I felt very uncomfortable. I got very pissed. But I know this is your area and I can't do anything. I just have to compress my anger and just cry. If I were to imagine myself being in her situation, how would I feel? So immediately what I learned was to compress that and just throw it out and never go to that phase again.
I think a lot of dive professionals actually face this kind of problems that what Ferdy has been telling both of us
Every day.
Dicky.
Every day, every time,
Especially,
because
which is why a lot of the dive professional prefer not to deal with their loved ones, especially their close ones, because they know that problems gonna bound to happen in some point of the course or during the trip. teaching is something that is, as you mentioned, sacred, and it requires talent and a lot of patience and empathy. So, Diki, as a course director, and I believe you were part of the teaching team for Ferdy's IDC as well,
Yes,
right?
I was a staff member. Yeah.
What is your experience when it comes to dealing with Ferdy? Explain to us, like maybe from the start where you met him at Midday, all the way to when he becomes like an instructor.
So as Ferdy has told us, exactly, we met at the Malaysian International Dive Exhibition. I really can't remember what year was it. It was indeed Mark Rahman who introduced us. That relationship grew very quickly. So right after that exhibition, we became very, very close. In fact, he went back and then trying to sort the equipment and stuff, could not. And then the wife came back and then we had to do a lot of configuration with his equipment. From that on, the relationship grew even better, even closer, I would say, because we meet a lot. We have never, no, we can't say we have never dived together. We do dive together a lot, but we have never gone on a dive trip together. That is something that we have always been talking, maybe go to, I don't know, Lombok or Bali or Komodo or wherever, but that just did not happen. Year in, year out, we became closer. We had interest in similar other activities like, shooting and cycling and
Motorcycling.
motorbiking and that kind of stuff. So whenever we are in the island, we always, spend so much time together, chit-chatting, talking nonsense about motorbike until wee hours in the morning, that kind of stuff.
He was my roommate as well. Yeah. I bumped into his room.
Of all the courses that he has done, the ones that I am involved in is the IDC.
Yes.
The ones before that, tak ada kan?
Ada. It was there, but is the one that
Not directly lah.
the one that you properly mentor me was the IDC.
IDC is a course where one progress from dive master level to become an instructor. A lot of dive masters out there think that when they are a dive master, they're in the category of dive pro. They know it all. They are the best divers and that kind of stuff. Same goes to those who are just getting themselves into becoming an instructor. For me, it's different because I think no matter what level I am at or I can be, there is always something more to learn. How do you learn is by seeking that knowledge, reading or learning from other people and then practicing it as well. So when we did this IDC, I wouldn't say Ferdy is struggling. He wasn't struggling, but
I was struggling. He was just being humble. I was completely
but
struggling.
he needs, like he said, he likes to see it from many other different angles. That's where I come in, So when he does his study and then we burn in midnight oil, we discuss over matters. A lot of it is just dive theories lah. Physics, physiology, dive equipment and all, environment and all that kind of stuff. In terms of in-water activities like his skills and so on, felt really very good. He is super stressed out. When you're in IDC, right, you put a lot of pressure onto yourself. You expect yourself to be super duper. Nobody can be super duper in that short period of time. The IDC is a time where you gain knowledge and practice of yourself. There are requirements where you need to meet. You meet those requirements and you are an instructor. Although in our IDC, we develop the candidates into becoming not only competent instructor, but really passionate and really attentive instructor. So we want to make sure that our instructor that come out of our IDC is a different breed. That's what we like to do. He was struggling with his stress actually. He just needs confirmation. Yeah, and then we became close. We do a lot of stuff together. After the IDC, he stayed on, right? He stayed on and then on-job training, trying to get more teaching experience. So it's a learning process. And I was there as a manager and that kind of stuff, and then we became closer.
Something struck my mind when you mentioned the difference between a dive master and an instructor. And of course, these questions apply to both of you as well, since both of you are already instructors, right? What do you think are the major differences between the dive master course and the instructor course? Like, since you are saying that most of the dive master that you encounter, once they have become a dive master, they think that they are very up there, they are very good already, right? So what is the difference between the dive master course and the instructor course?
This is what I learned from my third mentor. none other than Zainal Ben Rahman. Ben did not only teach us skills. I agree when Dicky said about me being stressed, because that's the backstory of my time back then. I used up all my money left. I can't feel this. If I feel this, I can't feed my family, you know. The kind of real world struggle kind of stuff. So I cannot feel. And that time, the candidate number was so small, the IE in Tioman was cancelled. I had to fly off to Sampona to do my IE there. That requires money some more. What Ben taught us was actually the mindset. Yeah? Problem is, when you don't have the right mindset, you do not have the right purpose of being whatever status that you are in. I mean, recreational days, they are really diverse. I believe, Adam, took your time. You really, really clock your dive before you so-called like rank up to another level, right? Because you want to do it, because you want to do it. Some of the people, which the current people I face or I know from this part of my career life, most of these people are card collectors. You want to be open water today, tomorrow you become advanced, next week becomes rescue, and then what happens at your rescue scenario? You know, what happened to you don't get into it. So Ben taught me how to put your mind right. It's for me clear cut. I love teaching. I want to be an educator. And my direction is to become an educator. If I can't teach in campus, I can't teach in school, I'll teach in water. And I think as my second mentor, you will understand that I prefer to be in the classroom more than to be in the water. I'm that kind of an instructor. So in this particular manner, the mindset is not right, Adam. Certain people really want to be a dive master, or we really want to be a dive professional just because they want the status, just because that they want to be recognized as a dive professional. My card is not black color, no more blue, no more, you know. So I am all there. For us educators, we don't see it that way. We want to learn more, to teach more. Like what I always told my wife, technical diving is my next direction. Why am I going to dive twins? Am I going to dive sites all the time, going into deco and whatnot? No, I want to go to tech for me to understand M value and gradient factor, for me to teach RDP better for my open water students. It's the mix and match of multiple courses. At the end of the day, it just benefits to my students back again. Because I do not want to be the next person to say that what are you doing at the surface? You know how dangerous it is to go back down in the water. I don't want to go to that phase anymore. And I want to let the students to understand. So I really believe that is one of the main cause, that the mindset was not right at them. Ben taught us was really, I mean, I got my sense of humor from Ben. I have to say it that way. Yeah? I think when my students, I mean, my current students, if they see me teaching in Singapore, I think in every class, it will always be stupid jokes, because that was the last method that I got from Ben, to make every single thing a fun thing.
Yeah.
Right? You can agree with that, yeah?
Yeah.
I felt a little bit touchy when I say that, yeah.
Diving's supposed to be fun.
I'm sure if Ben hear this, he'll be very proud of you, bro. Because in our podcast, he did mention exactly the same thing that you mentioned.
Oh, really?
He said that the first thing that he needs to settle when it comes to IDC candidate is to eliminate all the distractions that the candidate has, whether it's household, relationship, or whatever. You need to get into the course with the right mindset, as you
You
said.
need to be ready.
So exactly what you said. So I'm sure that if he hear this, he will be very happy.
I'm very, very thankful for Mark Rahman, for Diki Zulkarnain, and for Ben, and for me who I am today. I managed to go places because of these three guys. I hope it works, because this is the result. And not only me alone, I think thousands of other people just like me was given chances just like me to make it work, based on the education that was provided by the right people, putting on the right mindset, giving out the right experience, and you will groom. That's why, remember Aaron, my dive master trainee? He's certified dive master now.
Okay,
He
congratulations.
was my first ever dive master.
Congratulations.
I was jumpy. I was very jumpy. I told Amira, I told my wife, I can't teach a dive master. Why can't you teach a dive master? Because I'm just graduated. It's been a while since you graduated, and I called my mentor. I can't do this, man. I can't teach this guy. This guy he just finished his introduction to cave and blah, blah, blah. And I cannot teach it. I am afraid of my candidate. Can you believe that? Then after a while, I told Aaron that I am not here to teach you. This is the lesson that I learned from my mentors. I'm not here to teach you. I'm here to inspire you, to educate you. Because that was what Dicky told me before we departed the island on a different time. Ferdy, do not teach your student. Educate. In Malay, we call it jangan ajar.
Didik.
Didik, that's the word. Jangan ajar, tapi didik. Two different words. And I believe in that. I held that strong. I mean, strong tak strong lah. Every night, well, you know, you have our own struggles. I call Amy and blah, blah. Amy will always say, what would Mark say? What would Dicky say? What would Ben do? What would Dicky advise you to do? Because I don't have them anymore where I am. You see. If not, back then, we'll just knock. I can't sleep. I need to talk to you. Boom. And then we will chat and blah, blah, blah. I will steal his serunding and I will get
Serunding.
Sorry,
I
Kak
totally
Lin,
forgot about the serunding.
I will steal his
And
serunding.
Shimram you.
So it trade off. I take his running, he took my instant noodle, and so I can go down to Ben, I can hug him and say, Ben, I'm struggling with this, miss my family and blah blah. And Ben would do his due diligence to make sure that my mindset is correct. You know? Mark did his time back then to make sure that I'm on the right path. So, oh man, I don't know that Ben actually answered the exact same thing.
Atuk enal.
Atuk enal.
Atuk enal.
Atuk enal.
Even though your mentors are not physically with you, I mean, having your wife Amira telling you that what would they say, in a way, they are already in your thoughts, in your mind. What they have taught you is already instilled in you already. All you need to do is just to take it out,
Trigger it.
and tell yourself.
I think that one, I would not survive without my wife. Back then, when she was my girlfriend, she was very clingy to me. I think now is the other way around. She constantly give me reminders lah. Madam. If I were to sway, she will pull me back. This is the culture that I do not have lately. Because I told my colleague the other day, back then when we were in the island, I know that I look to my right, I see Ben. I look to my left, I see Vicky. Once in a while, Mark just popped by. I turn around, I see Danny. I turn that side, I see Faisal. Allah Akbar. I see that side, I see these kind of people. And every single time if I were to sway away, going back closer and go back to my path. Martin Ritter was just, come back here. You know? It would just come. It would just pull me back. I don't have these people anymore. I do have Mira with me. So constantly she will pull me back. You know, Ferds, you got to do back there. Oh no, why are you so emo? Relax, you know, this kind of things. You know, so.
But it's also, I think it's time for you to take on that role. You know, bring that culture or step up to that role in your new place. You know, I'm sure there are people there that would really love to get what you have received from us.
Yes, they are.
So, and would need the same advice or gestures and that kind of stuff. So
there are people that is keen.
Yeah.
There are people also who was not given the chance that was given to me. You know, stay in Ireland for multiple seasons, gain experience. My mentors always said, man, pass it on. Pass it on. I believe Ben always say that as well, pass it on. We're not going to live here forever. You mentioned that to me. You taught me that as well. You're not going to live here forever. Pass it on. If we can get more quality dive professionals in the future, or maybe divers in the future, that we're doing a good job.
This is exactly why me and Dicky started this podcast. To give people a platform to share their experience and their knowledge so that others may benefit as well.
This is the other reason why I really want to support the podcast, because I really believe that, I hope that somebody hears this and get inspired, because I was inspired back then, is it?
We want to share as much as we can, you know, IDC staff or course directors like us, me, myself, Mark, Ben, and many others as well. I think we are blessed to be given the trust. It's a big responsibility, right? When we have candidates who come to us saying that we want to become an instructor. We take it really seriously and we don't just get you to pass IE.
Yeah, correct.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
For us, we take you to IE. We want you to be really competent, so you know what you need to do, not just to pass the IE, but to be a really good instructor, a passionate instructor, teach really good courses. So these are our objectives.
Diving is just not only diving itself. I mean, as you guys know, it's a lifestyle. It's a lot of things mixed into one. For instance, how do you survive staying on the island? How do you fix this? How do you fix that? It's not
Exactly.
only dive gear. There are a lot of things that needs fixing and maintenance and everything, right?
Exactly.
And apart from that, when it comes to teaching as well, how do you deal with people? How do you deal with students? How do you deal with customers? Not everything is inside the course syllabus, but there are mentors out there that will pass on everything that they have to you. You need to find those mentors. You need to be motivated and inspired enough to ask them questions.
You did ask us just now about what's the difference between instructor and dive master, right? And I did mention saying that, you know, when someone who comes in and they say they are dive master, they are there. I mean, not to discredit dive masters out there, but then again, dive masters are there to be able to run the show. So dive masters are one of those key people in a dive center or dive resort, any dive establishment, right? Filling up tanks, cleaning up the tanks, doing inspection on the tanks, regulators, all the equipments and that kind of stuff. So all the logistics. Not only that, they need to have knowledge like how to read current,
Conditions,
waves and all that kind of stuff.
tides.
Even the sky, is it going to be
Rainy,
reboat or
yeah.
whatever? A lot of the dive masters out there are lacking all of this little knowledge. I call it little knowledge because these are basic knowledge for dive masters.
Life skills.
Dive skills. Not only that, they come in and they can't even swim.
Yeah.
So
That is performance requirement.
these are the things, and they want to complete a course within a short period of time because there are places where you can complete the dive master course in a very short period of time. But they never ask themselves back again, what do I get out of this? All they are concerned about is just
Card collection.
by knowing all of this, only then you can step up in becoming an instructor. So because instructor is teaching all of this to the students, teaching all of this to the fellow divers, right?
It falls
Should
back.
I say it? I don't know, but it's really
just say what you need to say. If you don't like it, we cut it out.
it's really mind-boggling to be receiving instructor candidates who are really struggling even with their basic stuff. As a course director, especially where we are, we take that challenge, we build them up. If they are happy enough to stay with us to learn, we're happy to groom them up, we teach them up. I've had a couple of candidates who need longer time to achieve becoming an instructor.
That was also one of my earliest student. I think less than 5 open water students. She spent a week doing a course with another instructor. I think after a while, the instructor passed her to me and said, "Mate, she can't do it." And I said, "Hey, why you pass to me? Because you're fresh, mate. That's why I pass it to you. You can do this. I'm going off. Thank you, bye-bye." So I was like, just like that, So I said, how am I going to do this? And Ben said, you educate the girl. You spend your time. If she needs another week, give her another week. So I remember when I was working with Naj, she said, "Ferdy, can I do this?" And I said, "Do you want to quit? How about you, Ferdy? Do you want to quit?" And this is the line I still use until today. If you're not quitting, I'm not quitting. If you're not quitting, I'm not quitting. Let's just don't quit. Boom. And then now she's diving all across the world, going
There
to the
you go.
sites I can't
So-
even afford to, Like what Ben always said, done and dusted, job is done. My current team in Singapore, he would say, settle the kettle.
Settle the kettle.
I know a lot of places, or actually the norm. The norm now is, for instance, if you talk about open water, it's always like 4 days, 3 nights course, right? Most people will sell it at 4 days, 3 nights. By now, we should know that it's not really a 4 days, 3 night course. It can take 3 days, or it can take 2 weeks, or it can take a month, depending on the students, right?
And the instructors. And the
Yes.
instructors, yeah.
So I want you guys out there that is hearing this to know that in scuba diving, there's actually no such thing as failing unless you really, really put yourself in danger
Yeah.
or someone else in danger. Then you are actually liable to be failed because of safety reasons. But if you do not give up, like what Ferdy mentioned, you will pass eventually. But just don't give up. And of course, you need to find the instructor that is willing to put the time and place for you to be in the certification position.
Put it this way, we are human. God Almighty give us capabilities, understanding in our brain is such that we explore the universe. We have divers, we have got astronauts and that kind of stuff, right? Ask yourself a question. Why do I want to do this? Yes, I want to explore underwater, but how do I do it safe? If you are doing it blindly and not wanting to have the knowledge, it means you are just being irresponsible to yourself because it's your life there. Diving is safe, diving is fun, but yet has its inherent risk. If you're not going to learn and make sure that you know all this knowledge and master the skills, then nobody can help you, and you know, right? So,
but just the mentality that when you are swaying away or you are putting the right mindset to do this, then you can just grow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, but at the end of the day, we want to see what is the mindset like you know, whether you want to just be here for the sake of just being here, just diving because of you are just diving, or you really want to make change. I think for us, it's all about educating. This is the closest thing that I could get to teach someone. It's no turning back, man. I miss filming industry. I do. I want to have it back, yes. But Amira asked me one particular thing. You come back, can you still teach? That was my whole back. The money, how soon you're going to get your payment, that was a drawback. But my whole back was, can you still teach if you were to go back? You know?
Thank you so much for watching to the end of this episode. Please do consider subscribing if you find this entertaining and of value. Please do go to our episode list to check out part 2 or any other interesting podcasts available there. We'll see you guys soon. Here's a preview of the next episode. After hearing you talking about your filming experience and also being in the dive industry right now, have you ever explored the possibility of incorporating both of them together, or have you already done it?
That was my proudest moment that I share with my teammate, that my partner Amy was running it until today. But we are very, very proud of that. That was basically our baby.
What about you, Dicky? Have you been on screen before that we don't know about?
That laugh, I know what is coming.
Oh, sounds like
my
an interesting
goodness.
story.
no lah. Which one, huh?
Cannonball.
Oh, cannonball.